My stories? What are my stories again? The man who was afraid of ATMs? No, I don't think that's cynical. I think it's a very loving portrait of an old Chinese guy who used to be a Chinese teacher in Singapore in a high school, and then he emigrated and found himself very lost in a new country. I don't think it's cynical. I think there is a cynical character, which is the daughter-in-law, Annette. I think she's like kind of bitchy. I would say she's cynical. But the portrait of Mr. Chan, the main guy, the old guy, is supposed to be a very, you know, sympathetic portrait. So I don't think he's cynical. And then the other stories, Kenny's Big Break, I guess that's very cynical because Kenny's a very naughty kid. It's the whole story is about his revenge, you know. So yeah, Kenny is cynical, but the story isn't, because I'm not a cynical person. I'm just really, really corrupt. I think that's very different. And then Justin and the Cenotaph, I don't know. If you read the story, you wouldn't think it's cynical. If you didn't read it, then well, you could say whatever you want. But it's actually a very sentimental, very romantic, very loving portrait of Singapore. No. Singapore is interesting. Singaporeans are interesting, especially when you're no longer there and you can view it from a distance and you can really appreciate it. So, you know, everybody knows this, right? Once you're really sick of a place, you get really jaded, then just take a break, go somewhere else, and then you'll come home and see it with new eyes, which is what I've been doing. I would say on the MRT, because I'm always really bored on the MRT. So I like to read short stories, and they're short, so you know, you don't have to get interrupted if you're getting off at your stop. You could just read one, and I think a short story could take you from Orchard Road all the way up to, you know, Ang Mo Kio or Sengkang or whatever. I think one short story length is about that ride. And then you can listen to music at the same time. And if you want, I can recommend to you the songs on my iPod that kind of go with each of my stories, because there's a playlist for each of my stories.